and it's just truly amazing, my body will not move in a direction it doesn't want to go. It just won't. And my mind is going, pick up that phone and make that phone call. And my arm will not go up. And it becomes funny after a while.
Um, Welcome.
Yeah.
I'm very happy that you're here and to get to talk to you a bit. And so this is a part of a series called Human Design Living Examples, and it's all about giving people kind of samples of people who've lived their design and what it can do, and kind of get them a taste for the frequency that can arise out of living your design for some time. And would you like to tell a bit about yourself? Maybe about your design for starters?
Okay. I'm a emotional projector, triple split.
Mm.
And it pretty much says on the surface there, I still want to, sorry, I have gate 21. I need to be in control.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, yeah.
So that would be a beginning, to say that I'm a projector, emotionally triple split. I'm the poster child for time.
Mm.
It takes time for me for everything. So,
Yeah, I noticed that every time I asked you a question on Facebook, you would at least wait for the next day before you answer.
yeah, that has been something that I've settled into. I um, take time to not just make a decision, to digest food, to connect my thoughts. Um, and it had been a source of great suffering for me, but
Mm-hmm.
now that I know and have lived that there's no way to change it, it just is what it is,
Mm-hmm.
then I can relax with it a bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So um, my mind always worries that I don't get right back to people, and I kind of learned to like shoot off a little text or something to say, um, I'm walking it around, I'm going to sleep on it, whatever, if the people really don't know about human design or they don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps um, to relax the mind a bit.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, both, maybe probably both your mind and their mind.
Yes, and it's just, and if it's important to me, if they are important, then I don't mind that. But if they know me, I can, then they don't worry so much,
Mm-hmm.
about,
Yeah.
oh, what's Lily doing? Why hasn't she gotten back with me?
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
Because you may have to contact me two more times before I even get back with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm not sitting there going, I'm waiting for you to call me a second time. Maybe my mind does that, but in reality, in my natural state, that is just the way it is. And so, just the right people then, get back with me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Would you like to tell me about how you met human design and maybe when that was and how it was?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I thought that might be a question.
Yeah.
Um, it will be 12 years in this spring. I was in Sedona, um, and I was at the time, Stephen and I, my husband, we were teachers and assistants in a school of tantra, yoga tantra,
Mm-hmm.
and we were at um, a retreat, so to speak, and there there was a person there called Tierra St. Clair,
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, and so at the end of the week, there was a person there that we knew, and her daughter came over to the house we were renting and said, "Do any of you want to put your birth time and your birth updated because this person Tiara is going to come over and do my design, and would you like to know something?
Wow.
And right away, my body, I didn't know at the time. I went, yeah, whatever it was. And so I gave the information. Then she came over that evening. And then when it was my turn for her to give me the basics of my design, it was love at first sight, love at first feel. It was like a big ocean liner. And I was in the water, and they threw me a lifesaver, with the big round lifesavers with the word lifesaver on it. And I just knew that this was for me.
Hmm.
And from then on, I just have been studying it, been curious about it, trying to experiment. So that would be almost 12 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. I didn't know it was Tierra who got you into this.
Yeah.
That's
And she
cool.
was already about a year in, I think, with her design.
Uh-huh.
And about a year later, I'm not quite sure of the timeline. Um, I didn't keep in contact with her, but then I started searching for her to thank her. And from then on, we became friends, and we connect all the time now. So she's
Hmm.
lived with us, and several different times, and we've traveled. Well, we were in Romania, and she was with us in Europe, and
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah, about Romania, it actually brings me back to the first time. Actually, so so it was the festival, right? And me and Hanele were there, and we were walking around, and we got to the restaurant, kind of looking around, and actually, you and Steven were the first human design people we saw there.
Oh, you did.
Yeah, yeah, you were
know that.
talking to a person there, and I recognized you. I was like, I know this person. I must have seen your picture on Facebook or something, and you had quite a powerful aura. That's what I felt. I felt like you were like a cat somehow. You were there like a yeah, some kind of a big cat, and it was really interesting for me. I was kind of impressed. Like, oh, okay.
That's interesting. My Chinese animal is the tiger.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I can be called the kitty. And so you picked right up on it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was cool. Mm.
Well, thank you for sharing that because people don't know that
Mm-hmm.
until you hear it. So
Uh-huh.
thank you. Because I have like 9 twos in my design, and so I'm always dealing with the paper tiger syndrome. You
Uh-huh.
know, uh, am
Tiger
I a
again.
paper tiger? Yeah, or am I real? Am I a real tiger?
Mm.
So
I don't
uh,
know. That's what I saw. I was like, wow.
yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to tell me a bit, or us, because I mean it's also for people who are watching, obviously. Um, would you like to tell a bit about how you how you experience living your design and kind of what difference it made for you in terms of um, how you feel, maybe inside your life or inside yourself, or how you deal with things, and what has changed. You can probably not cover everything that has changed, but
Yeah,
um, would you like to talk about that?
I would. I think the first thing, and it took a while because I started late in life. I was in my late 50s, and I've often thought about starting a group for people who start late because there's a lot of living that's been done without knowing the mechanics. And with that said, I noticed, first of all, that I didn't know I was an emotional being because my authority is emotional, but it's unconscious. And so, and it's the 4130, which is a very strong emoting and recognition of feelings. And so, I could just kind of, uh, when I wasn't in my um, realness, I could just kind of spew on people, with a bunch of stuff. And so I noticed that um, when I first found out about it, I asked my husband, Stephen, because I was shocked that I was an emotional being. I didn't know. And I said, "Am I emotional?" And his jaw dropped to the, because he's not defined emotionally.
Right, right,
His
right.
jaw dropped to the floor, and he said, "Well, yeah." And so I didn't know. And but I did know innately inside my body. I knew, but my mind didn't know.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was my journey on discovering that I had feelings
Mm,
and that I had emotions all the time, and
yeah,
I had
yeah.
waves all the time. So that really turned that around for me to eventually where I felt um, whatever was happening, it became more clear I and more less toxic and more clean
Mm,
and my emotional energy, and that I got to know myself that way. And given everyone has a childhood and everyone has a past, and when I and so it, I also have the gate of the past, so I could look back and see where um, that was not something that was celebrated at all growing up
mm,
having emotions, and I had to mourn that and be angry about that, and but it is what it is. So that then started to help me set more easily in my body. And then when I would look back after like 2, 3, 4 years, I noticed that, consistently I'm more relaxed. I'm just more relaxed in my body. There's not this anxiousness about, um, what am I going to do and who are you and uh, all that. It's more like I had something that I could that lifesaver that I could hang on to and guide me.
mm,
And then and I feel like it took me longer because I started later and I'm a triple split, blah blah blah, all that. But it didn't doesn't make any difference. So now I feel I have experienced in the last couple 3 years, and it's just truly amazing. My body will not move in a direction it doesn't want to go. It just won't. And my mind is going, pick up that phone and make that phone call. And my arm will not go up. And it becomes funny after a while. And so I've been noticing a lot the separation of the mind and the body,
mm,
um, and being able to observe that. And it took me this long to get to even start to do that.
uh-huh, uh-huh,
It's
uh-huh.
fun, and it's really enlightening to see that, and it puts a whole new perspective on things. Did I answer your question?
Yes, you did. Thank you. Yeah, it's really, I really enjoy you talking and telling me these stories and everything. It's really like a journey, and there's so many things. Something that made me laugh is how you didn't know that you were emotional. Um, and one of the things with that, I think, is because you're a projector as well. Like you're not focused on yourself.
Yeah.
You're not made to. So did you spend a lot of time looking at people's charts around you and understanding them rather than looking at your own design?
When I first got into this, I was hungry, and I don't care who you were. I would ask what your birthday was,
Yeah.
and I had that app that I could put it on the phone. And before I got Maya Mechanics, and then after a while, it became overwhelming. I had to pull back, and I never quite understood, Luca, about projectors not wanting to know themselves,
Mm.
because I feel like I'm so self-absorbed,
Uh-huh.
being 2-4,
Mm-hmm.
that I really do. But I was thinking about that, and I do know myself through other people, so I have to know who I'm with,
Uh-huh.
and are they a superior force in my life? Are they a supporting force in my life? And so I have to and I'm a fourth line too, so I have to kind of be introduced, and so learning all this settled that down. And I still want people's designs, like I wanted yours,
Yeah.
but it's not because I don't. I don't know myself anymore. I know myself well enough to where I can meet you and still stay within my boundaries and who I am. But it takes knowing for a projector, in my case,
Yeah.
my opinion or my experiment, of knowing the other person, and then it shines a light on me. So when somebody oversteps my bounds, and I'm giving too much, let's say, or I'm fearful or whatever it is, then I can look within and say, oh, that's coming from within me. And so I can adjust that through my own design rather than um, trying to change that person out there.
Uh,
Does that make any sense?
yes, yes. Actually, it's actually answers other questions that I never asked, but it is quite something to try to make sense of somebody being a 2-4 or a right angle and being a projector. It is something that I've wondered about, and it's really interesting to get somebody who is that can tell me about what it is like. So that's nice.
Yeah, I can tell you my experience
Hmm.
from it. And every day it seems like it's quickening, maybe because it's the new year or we're getting closer to 2027 or I'm deeper into my design. But it feels like every day or once a week something clicks into place. And I'm sure other people might identify with that. But being a triple split, I'm always feel like I can't connect the dots. It just takes time for me to connect, what my head's saying, what my body's saying, what my emotions, and how they can all work together. But it feels like I learned some things that maybe people learned the first year they were into design. And I'm learning it now, about, let's say, the cross. I feel like um, I'm kind of waking up in my cross
Mm.
for the first time, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
70 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if that's true or not, but that's the first time I've ever felt that.
Right, right.
And yeah. So what I do with Ra said he wakes up from sleep, which I don't understand the dream rave. I would like to, but I'm got 9 second lines, so I don't study as well as some people. And I wake up every morning, like he said, and I remind until I feel it that my design.
Yeah.
I'm a projector. I'm emotional. It takes time. You know, I'm focused energy, and I just lay in bed until like, there it is.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's really helped me.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I've been doing that lately,
Yeah.
but only lately, really. But just
Yeah.
getting out of trying to control things, just getting to the I'm not doing anything here. I'm just here to watch this, and I can just relax, and life is gonna happen. Like just getting to that space, it just relaxes me so much. It's really
I
good.
I know. It is so relaxing.
Yeah.
And you can see the mind then.
Uh-huh.
And either the mind kind of goes along with it or it just kind of yaps away, but it doesn't make the body tense and anxious and you know. I have an open G. Do you? I can't remember.
No, no, I'm defined. I define G.
So I've learned with the open G is like just relax. I can come up to a intersection driving and do I go straight? Do I go right? Or do I go left?
Yeah.
And it's getting to the point like let the body decide.
Yeah.
And I just feel it turning the car. So those are the fun things that you can get to, and relax with it.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah.
And the other thing is hard for me to understand is we're not in control,
Mm.
and it's a program, and you, um, and it was just, I think it was yesterday, I just had this new awareness about, you know, I'm not in control, and I could feel my body go, oh, and that you don't reach out, you don't, I don't plan things, they will come to me.
Mm.
And if I look back over my long years on earth, I've always been provided for, always. It's weird, and it's even more so awareness about it now. And so I went, oh, then I'm not in control. This is the program works through me. I'm not outside of it. So anyway, that was just yesterday. So,
Mhm.
and if I over talk about something, you can stop me.
Yeah, you're not. Really, I'm more like I'm starting to be anxious
Oh,
because I feel like I don't have anything to ask now. I kind of went through the things that I already had thought about, and I'm like, oh, I have to make her talk somehow, but I don't know how yet. So don't worry about talking too
yeah.
much.
Okay. I get it. You know, you know, I'm not used to having someone ask me to sit, and I've done this a couple of times for other subject matters. And I
Uh-huh.
just watched myself prepare for this morning, and
Yeah.
my mind started to get really anxious, and then I felt my body get anxious, and I was doing things that didn't matter, at all. I was looking up something in a book, or it's it never ends.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine the HD children that are raised as themselves, not having this to deal with this,
Hmm.
not having this conditioning process. It's foreign to me, and in one way I'm jealous, and another way I celebrate that,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
because
Hmm.
for the rest of my life I will be deconditioning
Hmm.
probably,
Hmm.
and probability is my view, so probably.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. To
Yeah,
some extent, I think that even the children will have to decondition because they will be conditioned by maybe not by their parents, but by their friends that don't know about human design. If they go to
true.
school, if they go to whatever. Many children don't even listen to their parents, so they will completely go into their not self life and maybe be interested in human design later on. I know that's happened. Um, so, yeah, never know.
You don't. I just kind of imagine that it would happen earlier in life, or if, I don't really know. I just, if you live in a community of HD people and you're raised that way, what would that
Uh,
look like?
that would be really cool. I would like to
Yeah,
to have a community like that.
I would too, and I wonder about that,
Mm-hmm.
how that would go. And my purpose is in life is gate 8, and it's of service, and I wonder like how I can support that. And I'm more like behind the scenes kind of person, and that's one of my interests is how do we help parents pass this on to children? And
Mm.
do you need a structure, like a school or something? I have a friend who has 2 children. She's homeschooling, so she wants to know how do you incorporate human design into each child's teaching, but I don't know. I've asked online, and I don't get many answers back. So
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Well, top of my head, I could imagine somebody making videos online for parents that want to teach their children, or even for children directly, that the children can watch with their parents, and just it has to kind of maybe be thought out so that it's very simple. But I don't know, or maybe each parent individually can figure it out. Um,
I
I don't
don't
know
know.
about really.
I don't know. Part of me wants to speed up the process, but maybe that's not the way it goes. But I can see it happening. With the pressure of the mutation and things going, I can see more um, the probability of that there be more people coming forward with that kind of
Mm,
information and experiential information.
mm-hmm.
This is how it works with me, and yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Well, this hopefully, or that's kind of my intent, is that it's part of it to bring this out to more people, or even people
yeah,
who already kind of know about it. Just I feel like it's so good to get samples like this. Like when I went to the festival, I was so happy to meet so many people who were into human design and get a feel, you know. And for example, talking to you was so pleasant for me. You have this calm vibe like this. And I don't really know how to describe it, but it's different, and it feels really refined. Um, yeah, and so I'm just kind of turned on by that thing of putting it out there.
And I was thinking, well, I don't, I'm coming to be more surrendered and relaxed with I don't know that I know till I know, and just walk that around rather than, there's part of me that's always wanting, to know, and
Mm,
to be around the people at the festival was really nourishing for me because
mm,
you could let guards down, and you could be curious and not, if you didn't want to, weigh and measure and compare. And um, when I met you, I just thought you were this bright, um, curious, sweet soul, and that's what I remember about you,
mm.
and um, and that you knew things, and
Yeah, I read a lot.
probably that yeah, and I still think, oh, I kind of weigh and measure because I have friends that just that they'll read right through a book and they'll know every channel, every circuitry, every gate, and they really know. And uh, they know about tone, and
Well, some
they
people are
just know
like that.
things that
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's
yeah,
better, really. I mean, that's kind of my thing.
right,
Like, I like to know everything, but like for example, John Martin. I don't know if you know him much. I really
I
like
know of
him
him,
a
yes.
lot, and there are many things. He's not about all the details of everything. He just goes back to being present in a way, to passenger consciousness. You're not doing anything. Every time you think you're doing something, this is when you suffer. And just going back to that over and over and over. And it might seem boring, um, but to me, that's all you need. I mean, not everybody's geared to study everything. I mean, really not. I think it's terrible. I mean, yeah. So anyway, I just want to
I
encourage that.
agree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if I am to know it, then I have to wait to know if I'm to know it, and it just clicks into place. And that's where I'm kind of going right now, and having a sense of humor. That's what I liked about the festival. People had a sense of humor about their own designs and their own limitations. I really liked that a lot, because including me, you get so serious about yourself, and
Yeah.
then you miss out on the humor of just fucking being here.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Is there any other questions that you have in
Hmm.
mind?
What can I? Well, maybe I would like to ask you about what it's like to be with your husband, Stephen, because I know he's a manifester, and you're both into human design, and I think that's quite great. I mean, I'm with Hannele, and we're both into human design, and I think it's just so good to both be on that kind of wavelength that
Mhm.
we can understand each other and deal with each other so with so much consideration because of that. And so, would you like to tell me a bit about this?
Yeah, I was the one that jumped in because I'm a very, very emotional, experiential person, and he's more logical, collective person. But he always comes along. I'm always like, let's do this, let's do that, and that's what he loves. And what he does is really, I've been fortunate enough for him to be. He manifested an anchor for me to be here. I don't know where I would be without Stephen. I mean, we've known each other over 50 years. And he was 19 and I was 20, and we've been together ever since. And so we've grown up together, and it's kind of I'm in awe of that in that way, because there was a lot of suffering, but a lot of good times and adventure at the same time. So when human design came into our lives, he never pushed against it or never pulled the opposite way. He just kind of watched, probably. That's what I think anyway. And because I was going, you know, that was it. And maybe a couple years in, I said, well, we have to sleep out of each other's auras. Now he's a ego manifester, you know, tribal, and I didn't know. I didn't know how he was going to respond because, you know, I didn't know. But I knew it was more important than our relationship.
Wow.
And uh, yeah, and at first he had to process. He's a 6'2", so he had to process, you know, unconsciously, and then it came up into his being that like this is good, and it
Mm.
took a while. You know, he had to, and I had to kind of wait for that and kind of worry a little bit, but then not worry, and then just know that it wasn't going to change, and it wasn't out of because I was growing away from him or anything like that. It was more like I want to wake up as myself,
Mm.
and so now we wouldn't change it for anything, but it took a while. And so those kind of growth things came along in increments. You know, I would shift and change, and he would watch me. He's a left angle, so he would always watch me to learn about himself. And I would, you know, and I was always appreciative that while I was being self absorbed, he was holding the space of manifesting a place that was solid, and I didn't have to worry about anything as far as my physical well-being. And if I wanted to study something, I could, you know, because there was money to do it. Not that we're overly rich, but and there was never anything from him going no. He's just like, okay, go ahead and do it, you know. And so he's helped manifest that for me, and he's got a lot and he's brought a lot of that to that, and our adventures in life are one of playfulness, and I think that's the one thing that we play all the time. You know, we'll sit someplace in public and play a game all the time. We're playing, and I think that keeps the spirit light, and yeah, it's um it's a choice. I mean, it's a choice meaning um, you know, just reassess things from time to time, and are we are we happy or not happy, because that's, are we correct, you know. And then when human design came in, it took him a while to really, you know, get interested in it. And I think the one thing that kept him interested is that Ra is a manifester.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And then one time I saw a quote from Ra about Alok, saying, if Alok can wake up, anybody can, you
Yeah,
know.
so
And then Steve perked up with that, like, oh, okay, you know, because Alok's a manifester. So yeah. And so with this rave um, um,
marathon
marathon coming, yeah, that starts tomorrow, right?
tomorrow, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Yes, yes, today. And so, and he's relaxed with a lot of things in his own. He can speak for himself, but that's what I've
Uh-huh.
witnessed.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. So, are you ready to close this up?
Uh, I can go
I mean,
on,
I don't
but
know.
it's because I'm more concerned about you getting tired than me. I feel like I've got juice,
Yeah.
and I
Okay.
don't want
Well,
to.
good.
Yeah, are you good? Are you okay to continue?
I'm good.
Uh huh. Okay.
I'm okay to continue.
Uh huh.
So
Uh huh.
I'm also very right, you know, right mind, right brain.
Uh huh. Uh-huh.
And so whatever you want to
Pull out
ask
of
to
you.
draw out of me,
Pull out of the
see what
magic
happens.
hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sure, I'm all left. I'm just left, so yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. I really, really. um, uh, appreciate all left people.
All right.
So I do, because that helps me a lot. When it helps me come back into balance instead of just floating out there all the time.
Ah,
They can get a perspective and um, something to line up a little better that would take me a long time on a mental level.
ah, interesting. Hmm. Can you tell me about your
Yeah,
process as a triple split in terms of going in and out of auras? I mean, I know that now maybe with restrictions and things it might have been hampered, but do you feel like it's helpful for you? Do you tend to do that? Go to,
it's like air.
it's like
It's like
air.
breathing.
Uh-huh.
It's not something that is a choice. So let's say, as a I don't know how as example, some people don't do well with examples, but like, let's say um, you are low on vitamin B,
Yeah.
and yeah, you have enough vitamin B to keep you going, but you need a shot, and so to be the ultimate of yourself. So
Yeah.
during the COVID, I mean, we're still not so strict on lockdown. You can go out and walk around downtown, and there's people passing you by, and you go into a coffee shop with a mask on, and maybe several people, and that is really healthy for me. But when we were on strict lockdown, that was hard, and I would go
Mm-hmm.
drive to our downtown city, or a mall, an outdoor mall that was closed, and walk around by myself, and just walk and try to feel because I'm also external market, and try to feel the external market and feel the essence of people that walked around there before it was locked down.
Mm-hmm.
It helped a little, but so I would go to the grocery store a lot during the strict lockdowns.
Mm-hmm.
And also being external market, those two things are difficult. But being a second line, also, a hermit, sometimes that was easy. So it's a weird combination being a triple split. And at first, Stephen had to, being who he is, he had to get used to me saying, "I gotta go. I'm just going down to the local grocery store, or I'll be back." And he doesn't understand that, because he's external markets, but he's a single definition. So um, I'll just go in and sit in a coffee shop, and if I have a decision to make or clarity to get to. And then Steve and I, our relationship is triple split, so we don't connect each other up.
Ah.
So we'll go out in public on purpose to talk things out, and to connect, to have people or
Ah.
connect us up, and it flows much easier that
Mm.
way.
Yeah, that's
So
that.
it's a conscious decision.
Well, that actually
Go ahead.
reminds me of when I saw you at the festival at some point with Steven, and we were in kind of a big group, and then you were both, I mean, I think Steven would talk or you would talk, and there was a peculiar energy about it. Um, and I don't know, I just somehow bring it together with the fact that together you're triple split. So together you're good in a public environment, you connect up to the environment, and you connect together through it, and that's really interesting, like it's fascinating.
It is. It's fascinating now that we know the mechanics of it. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
Mm-hmm.
before, our mind would really say, "Well, why can't we get through this just by ourselves here?" If the transit's in, maybe, but at the
Yeah.
same time, um, so we use that a lot more,
Uh-huh.
on purpose,
Yeah, yeah.
and that really helps. And he doesn't hook me up, being a triple split. Of course, I don't want to be hooked up altogether.
Yeah.
Um, I would feel suffocated, and so yeah. Mm. Did that answer your question? Sometimes I feel like you ask a
Don't
question's asked
worry.
and I can go out there and
It's perfect.
okay,
I
I won't.
actually don't need any specific answers to any specific questions with you right now. I just want to get you to talk about things you want to talk
Okay.
about, and I'm
Mhm.
happy. So yeah.
Wow, it's wonderful for a projector. Yeah, I'd truly be interested.
Uh-huh.
The triple split is quite amazing for any triple split people out there listening.
Uh-huh.
In the first year or two that I was into my design, I had this amazing dream that I've kept with me. So I had this dream that that gave me hope because in the beginning, when people were talking about their designs and you tell them you're triple split, people would go, "Oh, that's." And it made me go, of course, the mind would come in like, oh God, you really got it tough. And it's like, oh, are you ever going to make it?
Jesus.
I know. And I just wouldn't do that to anybody now because of my experience, but I could have done that to somebody. Um, so I had this
Uh-huh.
dream, and this dream was I was in some other country, perhaps, or some other area where I live, and I was walking this street with houses on it, looking for this wise human design woman that I heard about. And
Hmm.
yeah, and she was kind of famous, but more of a hermit. And so finally, I found the house and I went up to the door and I knocked on the door. And this woman, she was older and kind of mousy looking, just looking at me. And I go, "Excuse me, but are you the woman that, knows about HD, human design?" And she just stood there, just yes. And I said, "Well, I've heard about you and I would like to ask some questions. And she said, "Well, I'm busy." And and she said, "So we can't do that now." And I went, "Oh," I was kind of like, "Oh." So I walked away. She goes, "But I will tell you one thing." And I said, "What?" She said, "You are triple split, and that means you can see from many different horizons." And that it felt like that was a message. And I know dreams aren't real personal, but it was a message to triple splits, like there is a uniqueness and an honor to that.
Mm-hmm.
And that yeah, I can see from many different places. It might take me a while to take all those things and put them together, but but ever since then, and that was like 9 years ago or more, that I've always keep that, in my heart about that. So
Mm-hmm.
thought I'd share that for
Good.
anybody out there that might think, oh gosh, this is difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Good. I'm
Yeah.
I'm thanking you for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but every design has its or its challenges, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
Probably.
but,
I couldn't
but
imagine.
nothing's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I always thought something was wrong
I-
at first because I didn't know enough at the time. So, especially being a projector, you
Uh-huh.
take stuff
My
in.
connection's bad. I came back.
There.
So, would you like to tell me that again?
Yeah, I don't think there's much more to say except for there's nothing wrong. Um,
Mm-hmm.
just you deal with what is, and it's never going to change, and so I might as well enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and the three splits that I have are quite interesting to me. And I think your own design should be interesting to you, you know, to each person. And but it's over time that they became interesting, and so it just takes time for
Mm.
me and for most people. Not as much time as I like the way Ra says, you know, generators can just wake up, you know, because you know, they can go with it, and I've always been kind of jealous of that.
Have you seen that happen?
But well, I do have a really good friend. She's a MG, manifesting generator, and intelligent. Oh my God, and quick. And she's taught me so much for me to pull back and slow down and see. And but the one thing that I come back to, if she asks me for guidance whenever she does, because she's a pure manifesting generator individual, you know, no other chance, the cross of the Sphinx. And I just said, are you experimenting? You know, is it in the body? You know, that's the only thing you can come back to, because everything else I could get lost in, you know, and her vastness of knowing things, and things coming quick and moving fast, and wow, um, it's a powerhouse. At the same time, um, that if that power isn't really anchored into experiential, then
Yeah.
um, it feels uh, just like like the Big Bang or something, you know, like, you know, a big explosion or something.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I don't know how I got there, but I have experienced that with her, and so I've been learning that that's the way to come back to. That's where I just keep coming back to, because I don't know everything. I can't tell her about all her channels, and you know, all
Yeah.
that stuff, and her cross. You know, she's coming into uh, she's in her mid 40s. You know, and then if the cross finds you, I mean, and I don't know, and maybe you would know, but I just read the other day, it wasn't Rob, but I think it was Richard Rudd, said that you don't find your cross. The cross doesn't find you. You wake up in your cross. Is that something that's familiar to you?
No, I've never heard
No.
that. I have no idea.
Okay. Anyway,
Mm.
that kind of like, all right, you
I've
know,
heard Russ say it takes you, right? Like,
keeps you.
yeah, like, if you're a passenger, then you don't do anything, that life takes you and your cross takes you, and then you just
Yeah,
happen to be pulled into a way of life or something like that. They would be your cross. That's kind of how I see it.
yeah, yeah. That feels right.
Mm.
You know, here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm searching. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I just want to share that I've been learning a lot lately. That I have the 6447, which is a busy, and people think it's confusing, but it's not. It's really just looking at every angle and every aspect, and lifting up every underneath every rock, and it's just doing its thing, and then clarity would just awareness just will just drop right in after it's the wheels keep turning, you know. So it's not chaos. It's not purposeless, you know. And so I've just been getting a lot of that about life, you know, and about other people, and it's doing its thing no matter what I'm doing. So um,
Mm-hmm.
before I felt my mind had, you know, I had to figure it out. I had to do this, had to do that, but it's on its own now, basically.
Uh-huh, uh-huh,
No,
uh-huh.
not all the time.
Yeah.
And so some of the awarenesses that haven't been available to me. It's just kind of coming in. So something's quickening either just now or in general. I don't know if you find that or not. Do you
For
for
me,
yourself? I mean, I'm
for me, there are changes that have happened lately. Um, I went kind of back stronger into being a passenger. Um, I, it is a bit of a back and forth for me in terms of my own journey or something. Like sometimes I'm really focused on it. Like I wouldn't say 24/7 because I couldn't focus that long, but because I'm just focusing. So sometimes my focus
Mhm.
really goes into this passenger, this human design, this being correct. Um, and I feel like I'm that more, and then sometimes I drift into some other thing that I'm enjoying or I want to get to, or um, but lately I have felt changes. Now I don't know if it's for everybody. Maybe it's a coincidence.
I
Um,
was curious.
yeah, but yeah, I did notice some
Yeah,
some changes that are quite radical.
maybe with the marathon coming up, that some of that might come out or not. You know, I might be able to see a swath, a wider picture or not. I don't know. Because I am curious. I'm always curious. Like if I'm going through this quickening, is it just for me or is something going on in general?
Uh-huh,
So
uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, interesting. Hmm.
yeah. So because I'm my view is probability and trends. So if something's trending source to a certain way, I'm wondering if I'm seeing that. It gets kind of confusing, but
Uh-huh,
so
uh-huh, uh-huh.
what to do?
Yeah, yeah. That I'm
Um,
sorry, but that makes me want to talk about myself because I have wanting, um, and from what I
oh,
understand, it means getting just kind of lost into seeing all kinds of things. Like I'm focused, so I'm gonna focus on this, then I'm going to focus on that, and it's like really the perspective that shifts all the time and that doesn't have a single point in that way. And I do see that, like I would think, oh, I should do something, and then I just focus on something totally different and until I'm done, then okay, I'm done with that. Maybe I'll go back, or maybe I go to something else, and things that are completely unrelated, that I'm not sure if it's gonna be useful for anything. It just happens. So yeah. Anyway.
Are you, I'm curious, if you don't mind me asking you a question.
Hmm.
When this is happening, does it create anxiousness or are you relaxed about it? Or,
It depends, I guess. I think, yeah, it can be both. I can be anxious at maybe for some time and then realize, oh, it's okay just to do that until you're done, and then I relax. I mean, it's kind of I wouldn't say I'm always relaxed. I think my mind freaks out a lot, and probably more than I know. My mind is unconscious, so often I don't even know what I think. I mean, it's not completely unconscious, but a lot, and so there's a lot of realizing, oh, actually, right now I'm freaking out. I can relax. Like I don't really see that I'm anxious, but I actually then realize that I am, or it can happen like that. Yeah.
is your Sun Earth personality in your head?
Yeah.
Yeah.
64, 63.
Yeah. So on the same note, except for it's my unconscious emotions, when I recognize that I'm feeling, then I relax.
Mm, yeah.
So it's just, it's kind of like similar, but different.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Interesting. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, and that took a while,
Mm,
to realize that.
yeah.
Um,
For me, it's been just a few months since I started seeing that like that.
are you on the roof yet?
No. I'm starting to wish I was, but I'm not yet. I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, because I know you were 4'6", but I didn't catch the age. So yeah,
yeah, I'm
um,
26.
well, not too far.
No.
Um, Starting to maybe build the ladder,
Yeah,
the
I think
rungs,
so actually. Yeah.
or an elevator.
Anything.
It's a hot air balloon, something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Yeah. What else?
Well, I'd
I
like to.
mean, I don't mind talking.
Yeah, I'd like to come back to you somehow because I just started taking the space here, and you're a projector, so you get
Oh,
right into it,
I
and
did
maybe you
that.
enjoy it, but I'd prefer
I
it if
do.
you. I enjoyed it, but I'd prefer if we go back to you somehow. So I don't know how yet. Um, Maybe could you tell me about your deconditioning process? Like maybe in the beginning and maybe how it evolved and shifted? Maybe your open centers or how that felt to you?
Well, in the beginning, when I was learning about deconditioning and the mechanics of that, I could look at my life and knew that I was already doing a lot of that. But now it made sense, and now there could be more of a purposefulness to it, a correctness to it. And some of the stuff that I was trying to get to help me, like teachings, and um, I dropped because it wasn't for me, but that was over time. And for me, being into Tantra, with laying hands on the body, it made sense um, when the cells, the 7-year cycle, and the cells take in trauma or take in conditioning that's not you, hold that. And so I was already in that direction, going in that direction. And so human design just let me know that there was a naturalness towards that. And after a while, the just following my strategy and authority over the years, and waiting,
Mm,
and worrying while I'm waiting,
yeah.
or what is waiting, what is an invitation, I was just finding all that out. And it all has to do with the body. The invitation I feel in the body. The worry is from the mind. The relaxation, all of that. It just took time, that kind of deconditioning. And
Yeah.
where I'm at in my life now, Luca, is I dropped so many things that, I mean, and I've heard this from other people. I just dropped everything, but I don't want to throw. Do you know the saying? Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I'm looking at, well, what's my real baby that I could really keep, you
Mm,
know? And because a lot of it was from the wishing of relieving the pain and the pressure and the anxiety, and some of it worked and some of it didn't. And so I had to drop everything. Now I have to look to see what is inviting me back in.
mm, mm,
And that's where I'm at in my life right now at this age. And
mm,
when I was a little girl, there were three things that I had a mantra for. And I look back, and she was wondrous. I mean, I absolutely love her. Um, the one was, I was probably about 9 or so, if I remember correctly. I may not. Um, I would say, someday I'm going to find out who I am not. Someday I'm going to find out who
mm.
I am not.
Wow.
And that is the deconditioning
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
process. Yeah. And I would say it to myself. I'd look in the mirror. I would say it to other people,
Wow.
you know? And so there's something already in me, and it's taken a while to trust that aspect of myself, that it was already present
Yeah.
when I came into this world.
Mm,
No more special than anybody else, but that's my story.
yeah, yeah.
And what was the other one? Oh, it's not what I want, but it's what I got. It's
Uh-huh.
not what I want. but it's what I got.
Wow. Such a
So,
30.
no, it's like, okay, it's not what I want, it's what I got. So now that's the process of surrendering and to surrendering to what is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then from there, to say, all right, what's correct for me and what's not.
Uh-huh.
And then the other one, I would just tell everybody, I'm a late bloomer.
All right.
I'm late. I'm going to be late.
Uh-huh.
It's going to take me time. I'm a
Uh-huh.
late bloomer.
Wow.
And here I am at 70 talking to you, Luca.
Uh-huh.
You know, that's a late bloomer.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I think. Maybe not, because when you think about lifetimes, then
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Wow. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's really um, something. That's really something for me.
Uh-huh.
And if anybody else gets an inspiration from what they had as a child, and to really take it seriously, there was grains of truth in that,
Mm-hmm.
not just what was told you or what you experienced or,
Mm-hmm.
what they taught you in school, religion, trauma, any of that.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
is something that's untouched, you know?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I saw quite a few people that had these kind of um, impulses that they had as a child, and they recognized them that there was solidity in there and there was truth, and they rediscovered it maybe through human design, through
yeah,
deconditioning, and then you go back and you see, wait, I knew that.
yeah. And well, for me, what it does, because I'm thinking, well, what does it do for you to know that? Well, it reaffirms,
Mm.
first of all, I'm here. I think projectors, I don't know for sure, sometimes don't even know that they exist,
Uh-huh.
that they're here, you
Okay.
know, and like there's a resistance to being here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you can spend your whole life, I could spend my whole life resisting that, because I don't want to be here. I don't mean that in a way of suicide or anything, but it's like there's an aspect of me, and I could feel it even probably when I was born. It's like, what the hell? What the fuck? What is this? Why am I here? And I really don't want to be here. And to the other side, going, well, I am here. Now what? You know, like Ross said, for projectors, get the best deal you can.
Uh-huh.
Just get the best deal you can. And so that's how I live my life. I get the best deal I can.
Uh-huh.
Situations with people. The more I know about mechanics, the more I can get the best deal I can. The
Uh-huh.
best people around me, the best information, the best learning. Yeah,
Yeah, I thought of that in terms of the 10th gate, being the love of the self. And somehow, I don't know, in my mind, somehow I related it to doing the best you can. If you know you played your cards right, you know, if what you've been given, you know that you've done the best that you could, then you can love yourself for that. I mean, I don't know. I just really
yeah,
got that
yeah.
feeling like, yeah, I did it. I did whatever I was meant to, you know. Um, yeah. So I like
I
that.
like that.
Mm.
And what comes in right behind that, right after that, is that you can actually then relax and forgive other people that didn't know. They did what they could with what they knew.
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
not not say, oh, it was okay for you to do what you did, but it's just like there's this releasing. If you release yourself, you can release other people, right?
Uh-huh.
You like, I mean, that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
I think Ra talks about that, about um, that you can release other people when you release yourself from all that,
Uh-huh.
and forward, I guess. We're moving forward anyway, so in
Yeah.
space and time,
Hmm.
and which fascinates me. It's like I always felt like in my life I was going to, I was. going along, but I always had the emergency brake on, in a car.
Yeah.
So you're going, but it's pulling, it has a drag to it,
Yeah.
and it's just release that emergency brake and go.
Uh-huh. Do you feel
That's
that
what human,
way?
yes, human
Uh-huh.
design, I couldn't quite know, and I know that's a symbolism that some people, but the emergency brake is something that's holding you back, and that is your not self, that's your what's been told you. And um yeah, it burns you out. You
Uh-huh.
burn your real brakes out by going forward with the with something pulling the opposite way. And I
Uh-huh.
think about the monopole, it's fractal, right? It's line. It has a fractal line, and that you're not going to change your fractal,
Yeah, yeah.
but you can change the view, and you can change the how you go. You're still
Uh-huh.
going.
Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes a lot of sense, and I kind of see it with uh, your cross of contagion, right?
Hmm.
So you have the 29th gate, and it's saying yes. And I feel like this is what this is, you know? I mean, life is happening. The resistance that you get from not just just letting it happen um, is a real drag that is not that we can do something about. Maybe, you know, we can just learn to relax and go with life and say yes to what is. Um,
Yeah.
mm,
That,
it
and
is.
I'm just beginning to understand that I'm not in control.
Uh-huh,
That's taken me a while,
uh-huh,
and I can feel, and I'm sure you can too, when you hear things like, especially from Ra, you can hear the ring of truth in it, but you
mm,
don't understand it, And so, yeah, I'm not in control. Yeah, there's the program. Yes, the program is. I'm not outside the program. I mentally, but I don't know really what that means in my life.
uh-huh,
Um, but I'm the type of person. Once I know, once it's in me, it's done. It's
uh-huh.
it's it's part of me
I
now.
would imagine so. I
Yeah.
think if it takes you that long, you know, to get all these perspectives together, then and when they are together, I mean, to break that is there's no way because you've got too many angles. Um,
That's a good way to look at it.
yeah.
It's true. It's really true, but it takes time, and that's what it can be my anxiousness and my worry. But
Uh-huh. The time.
yeah,
Wow. Yeah.
and
Relaxing.
yeah,
Always.
relax. And that I think for me, when I talked about the quickening, now that I'm sitting here, Luca,
Mm-hmm.
some of it's really for me. Like um, things are coming together at this time of what's been out there for so long, coming to towards each other and making it a connection in whatever subject matter it is or whatever awareness that it is. And
Mm-hmm.
some basic awarenesses are coming in that will just be so basic that I'll even be more, embodied who I am. That's what I imagine anyway.
Uh-huh.
That's what I see coming.
Uh-huh.
It may not be true, but it might be just a hope. But at the same time, so what? And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah. And and so I'm talking about these things, and I don't want to talk about them and make them smaller than what they are, but this is what's up right now, and it might be for other people too, where I'm just on the verge of something, and I'm relaxing into it, and it's exciting
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get glimpses of like, oh, um, I'm not in control.
Mm.
Oh, and I assume, I feel that that's just going to keep growing, you know, that wasn't just a moment in time and it's gone.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I feel kind of on the same bandwidth as you with that. The not in
yeah,
control, and it's a bit like remembering it over and over again. And how well can you remember that you're not in control? You know, how well can you really see it? Really like I'm actually not doing anything at all, nothing
oh.
at
And it's
all.
like, oh, wait,
What?
mostly, but maybe this,
Uh huh. Uh huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Always trying. Always. There's always a part of me that's trying, but
Yeah.
and most of the time I think I'm in control. Most of the time I'm lost in that. At least to some extent. I mean, not for the big things and everything, but the little things. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
it's a mechanism that has to be destroyed or something. It takes
Put
time.
it in its place. Yeah. Because it probably won't never go away, but it won't have the effect or the
Mm.
influence that it does.
Mm-hmm.
And um, maybe catching your inner thoughts. Like lately, I've been going, all right, because I have a rich inner world from my 4130, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And but I've never really claimed it because it's really been kind of suppressed and beaten out of me um, in the not self realm. And so now I'm kind of like, well, really, what are you thinking? And it's rich in there. And so lately, I'll be by myself and I'll say it out loud what I was just thinking, so I could see it and like because it's unconscious, right?
Mm.
It's an unconscious channel,
Yeah.
and I'm in like, whoa, wow, you just thought that. And I could either chuckle, kind of laugh at it, or, just be in awe of it. It means nothing in a way. It just is what's happening. But it's in my feelings, it's the recognizing that I'm feeling is from in my chart that is really important. That I need to um, be able to say it out loud and have somebody recognize my feelings.
Mm.
It was a great source of pain in Steve and I's relationship in the beginning because um, I'm in awe of that because he's undefined emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, it's with human design it has changed, but at the same time there was a lot of time um, that I felt something was wrong, not just because of him, but just being raised in like the Catholic Church and a mother who was a splenic projector and stuff like that. But I need to recognize my own feelings and to be able to have somebody else recognize that I'm feeling, not what I'm feeling, that I'm feeling
Mm.
is really important.
Mm-hmm.
So people around me, Tiara's one, she'll say, "You're feeling something. What are you feeling? I can feel it coming off your body. It's emanating off your body." And I go, "I am," you know, and it's true.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes you might felt my aura was big, but sometimes it can just bowl people over or pin them against the wall because I don't even know that I am feeling like
Uh-huh.
I'm emanating out these waves of feeling, and I
Uh-huh.
don't know it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So if somebody says you're feeling something, I can stop and go, "Oh, what am I feeling? Oh, I am." And that's just something that will always be for me
Mm-hmm.
to have the right people around to actually want to say that to me, to understand, not to go through all the crap, like, try to understand. It's just that I'm feeling. And then I get to see what I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So they might say, "Are you feeling angry? You know, are you, and, well, I'm feeling bitter. Ooh, I didn't know, you know, or I'm feeling sad. It's nice when I'm feeling happy and joyful, but even that sometimes I don't even know I'm feeling."
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm like that with thinking, I think, but it's not as important to get. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, you're the thinker, right? You have that channel.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I have a friend who's mental projector, and that's the only channel she has.
Mm.
And
Wow.
but it's quite a powerful channel too, of how I look at it, and you can tell me, is like you take things from here and then just bring them down into, you know, uh, knowing, or into the body, into earth. That's how I kind of look
That's how
at
you
it.
look at it. Huh. I never thought of that, but in a way, it's true because it kind of comes from I don't know where, or I
Oh,
heard something, and then it gets expressed, right? Because I also have the 4323, and
yeah.
in that way, it's not really Earth, but it's words. It still makes it real somehow.
Yeah, it manifests. I
Uh
don't
huh.
mean being a manifester, but it shows, from what you receive. What I see her, what she receives up here,
Yeah.
it's just amazing in how it just comes down. It expresses itself, and somebody is affected by it, or changed or inspired, whatever.
Uh,
So when I saw you had that channel, I go, oh, cool.
uh,
But you're a generator as well, and you have the 4323.
yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because when you say that, I think of your channel, which is the 6447, and it has so many images, and you're there, so it goes like this, like you really see it, you really see the thing. I really find it interesting, like all the metaphors and all these. I don't know. It's a whole. It's like taking all the senses of experience and having a world like that mentally, and through that you make sense of things.
Yes.
It's really wow. Like to me, that's I look at that and I'm like, wow, because I don't have it.
It's
So
wild. Yeah.
yeah.
And people around me project that I'm really confused.
Ah.
If they're open head, ajna, or open, they'll amplify that and think it's really I'm really confused.
Interesting.
And I'm always going, well, what do you mean? I'm not confused. I'm just processing something. I just don't know it yet. That's really funny too.
uh,
That's where mechanics just come in so handy, because oh, that's what's happening. Yeah.
They're taking that pressure.
There's so much to know. Yeah. I've lived from my head probably my whole life from that channel, trying to figure things out.
Uh-huh.
At least that's what I'm aware of anyway. Yeah. And the 5720 that I have, that's my favorite channel.
Mm-hmm.
You can have favorites, because it's like when I have something to decide in the material world, the physical, that one's quick. And I just so enjoy having something quick, because I'm so slow at everything else.
Uh-huh.
But I've learned a long time ago that it's not a decision maker for me, except for, get out of that person's aura, or don't stay in this store too long. Whatever it is, it's a very instant type of thing.
Uh-huh.
To make a decision like, oh, should I meet this person for lunch or not? I was invited. You know, don't go there.
Don't
Go
make
to my
it.
yeah.
That's interesting. So you kind of delegate some responsibility to your spleen, like health things that are not as big decisions, right?
Right. Healthy things and survival things, for sure.
Mm.
And uh, as an example, and I may somebody might say, "Oh no, that's not true," but for me, it's true. Um, about 2.5 months ago, I woke up in the night and I felt something right here in my lungs, just a small pinpoint, and my intuition just went click. You're going to get tested for COVID, and then
Mm.
you're going to start a program.
Wow.
I went, okay. So the next day I went and I had COVID.
Mm.
And it was a different kind of intelligence. And so I started on program. I have people that, know some things with herbs, and my own knowledge. And I just started, and it didn't let up. And I think that really I feel that really lessened anything that could have happened. But
Mm-hmm.
it was so instantaneous. It was no choice. I found myself in the car going to a clinic and getting tested. My body took me. So that to me is my 5720.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But that's what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And, is this person okay to be even near? Um, yeah, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've kind of trained it to say there's a decision, a clarity. And it's going. There's an intuition, but the intuition says, "I'm going to give this over to your emotional."
Ah, interesting, interesting.
Yeah. So this is not my job
Oh, wow.
to
Uh-huh.
go to the emotional.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And so then I have to slow down and take a look like, yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh. Wow, that's really cool. That I imagine the departments inside of body. Okay, give that to the boss.
And they have those little tubes, that at banks. A little note. Um, yeah, I never thought about that way, but that's funny. Yeah. Wow. No, that's. I'm going to play with that one for a while. Well, I didn't know what was going to come out, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah, I enjoy also the part where it's kind of when I didn't think about the questions and it just happens and it
Yeah.
goes where it goes. I like that kind of wild, let's see what happens kind of thing.
Let's see what happens. And I really had to do some kind of meditative work to quiet my mind down to say, well, if don't say too much, don't do this, do that, do that,
Yeah, yeah.
and yeah, and then just get down to the core of things of who you are, and have fun. And um, so this has been really good medicine for me. Thank you, Luca.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, and I look forward to coming back to Europe, when we can. We were hoping to come in March, but I still kind of feel the trend isn't quite going to be there for that, um, things to settle down. I thought, well, I can take a boat over, and not
Wow.
and stay, and stay away from people.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, no.
Boat. Wow.
But I don't like being on the ocean. I'm a Taurus, so I'm really earth oriented, and the prospect of me being out and not seeing land is a
Uh,
challenge,
I see.
you know.
Yeah.
Like a big boat,
Hmm? A big boat.
a big one, not a sailboat or anything like that.
Yeah. Just go.
A little rowboat. Am I there yet?
Okay.
Hot air balloon, maybe.
Air balloon. Wow. Yeah.
Has anyone ever done that? I mean, this is a thought that means nothing. Have
Yeah.
they ever done that? Gone across the ocean in an air balloon?
Probably. I don't
Oh,
know, but
I'm going to Google that.
I have a hard time imagining that it hasn't happened because some.
I don't even know if it can happen.
Oh,
Don't you have to have enough fire and stuff?
well, maybe it's a big balloon, like with a lot of fuel, and I don't know, like
It's a big balloon.
yeah,
Yeah.
with a big basket underneath.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it hasn't happened. I don't.
I know this, kind of like I feel like this is closing,
Mhm.
but I wanted to ask you, you said, this is something personal,
Mhm.
like a personal person to another personal person. You said something about you might, you were contemplating or responding to moving back to Romania.
Mm, yeah.
I think your grandmother's there or something.
Uh huh. Yeah.
Um, is that something still in your
Mm, yeah.
process?
Yeah, totally. Probably in the spring, maybe in the summer. I don't know. But that's what's on the on the horizon.
Yeah. I would love to go back to Romania. And Stephen, uh, we talked about it. He says, my body was really happy there. And I was really surprised because it's really foreign, not like Rome or Vienna or, something like that. But Romania is not something people talk about much,
Yeah,
at
yeah.
least here,
Mm-hmm.
but his body was really happy there. And
Uh-huh.
he goes, that just surprised me, you
Uh-huh.
know?
Last time I was there, I had such a feeling of being home somehow, and that's the first time I felt that, and I was like, "Huh, okay." I don't know.
Well, do you know my, I don't want to be redundant, but my story about my grandparents coming from Romania.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
remember.
And so when I went back there, I was in awe that it was human design drawing me back to where my ancestry on my mother's side came from. And that somehow it's mutating something by me coming back and going out to the villages and seeing where my grandparents came from, the different villages. And so it wasn't nostalgic, like, oh, I can remember, it's more like I have a mission. I'm here to mutate something and by being in the aura of other people that were in my lineage. And I didn't even know I was going to meet anybody. I just went to the villages and we had a translator and I met people that were in their 90s, and one was a nephew of my grandfather. He was 93 years old, and I met him. It's like I didn't know I was going to meet him, you know. And so I think Romania has, just from my ancestry, has a special place. But still, I like there's something, you know, basic and honest about it. I don't know what. I don't know. In kind of gritty.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
If you, I don't know if some of these words you do very well in English, but I don't know if some of the words translate to what they mean. But
No, I think I get it. And I feel kind of the same way about Romania in general. I think honest and gritty is kind of part of the thing. Like,
mhm.
yeah, I spent 3 years in England, and that's kind of the opposite of that. It's very, making things sound nice. Even
Proper,
if they aren't necessarily. Um, yeah, that's a big contrast.
that it is. That would be a big contrast. That's what I imagine the English to be, kind of very proper,
Uh-huh,
um, a kind of a what do you call it? Like a warped sense of humor almost. They have a
uh-huh,
sense of
uh-huh,
humor that I've seen in like shows that are their honesty and your truth come out through their humor, but not when you see them in the face.
uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah,
Uh,
something like that.
yeah,
Uh-huh,
but I also saw in Romania, um, and just I wasn't there that long, but there enough to uh, feel into um, the effects of what a dictatorship and totalitarianism did to people, and they're still recovering,
mm,
and there's in their psyche and in their bodies. So there's this openness and this friendliness, but there's just toughness.
mm, mm, mm.
What do you want? Type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I don't even know if that's true or not, but that's what I felt,
Uh-huh,
and I was in awe of that feeling when I was in Bucharest, in looking around and feeling that of that recovery,
mm,
of what um, that collective homogenization can do, to a whole group of people.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's kind of what's going on in the States right now. There's this fight um, to not have a dictator, and and I can see how civil wars start.
Mm.
That duality of one mind being this and the other mind being that. And I want this, you want that, and I'm going to win. No, I'm going to win. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's awful.
it is awful.
Yeah.
And yeah, when my grandmother went back in the 1960s, um, she she came in 1910 here, and she said, "I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back." She really missed her country. She really missed it. But when she went back and saw what happened, what was happening, how scared people were, and how they had to look both ways before they even let her into the house, because who's going to tell on them about something.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
said, "No, I'm not going back."
Mm-mm-mm.
So I just find that fascinating. You might not, but it might be just useless information. It's interesting.
Uh-huh.
Um, and the people are very friendly to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
Either you know they're friendly or they're not. There's no in between,
Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. They don't pretend to be friendly and then they actually
Yeah,
aren't. They're like pretty clear.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah, me too. I like that a lot. Hmm.
Well, I think I'm ready to
Okay.
have this come full circle.
Hmm.
I think
Thank
you
you.
might have,
And it's really nice talking to you. Maybe we can do that again if you like.
I like that.
Uh-huh.
I think talking human design and our own personal experiences is really helpful.
Hmm. Well, thank you.
Thank
Um,
you.
I guess we're done.
Yeah, we're finished. See you around the marathon, probably.
Okay.
All right.
See you. And thank you
You're
again.
welcome.